What team, if any, could you see convincing the Bengals to give up that pick?
The Dolphins. And I know from talking to people in that organization, they have a lot of love for Joe Burrow. And everyone talked this year about tanking for Tua. And that was the guy that everyone thought that they wanted. And, you know, there are some people in the organization that love him too. But with the medical situation as it is, coming off the hip injury and multiple lower body injuries that he has had, and Burrow coming off the season that he has had, everyone in the organization that I've talked to, they love Burrow, but they're pretty sure they're not going to be able to get a deal done to go up and get him. They do have 5 picks in the first 2 rounds, 6 in the top 70, including 3 in the first round. So they've got ammunition, but if the Bengals are going to sit there at 1 and say, that's our guy, then there's no way to go get Joe Burrow if you're the Dolphins.
Could wait forever for Trevor, I guess.
Todd.
Very clever, Max.
Todd, how sold are you on Joe Burrow based on what you see? Because, again, I've asked this question on numerous occasions. Somebody could show up for 1 year in college football, and we understand it, but then they go pro, and we find out they were a 1-year wonder, as opposed to somebody who did it over and over again on the collegiate level. Are you that sold, and do you believe the Bengals should be that sold on Joe Burrow, and if so, why?
There's definitely a little bit of a scare there. There's no question. I mean, Jamarcus Russell coming out of LSU was a 1-year wonder too, and we saw what happened there. But Burrow's a different cat. I mean, this guy's so confident. He waited, he matured, he figured it out. He got the right coordinator with him, which is, you have to study that, what Joe Brady did with him and how he utilized him. And I think that's the path for success if you're talking about the NFL level. Let's get in the shotgun. Let's spread things out. Let's let him rip. That he just wants to go out and play and throw the ball. And he has so much confidence in what he can do. And he's exceptional inside the pocket in terms of maneuvering, extending plays, but not having to drop his eyes and take off to run. So that's what makes him special, in my opinion. I think he's going to be an absolute stud in the NFL. I think he's going to be one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league for a long time. And I would have no trouble at all if I was the Bengals taking Joe Burrow number 1. I actually, at this point, after studying everything, I wouldn't even think twice about it.
So, all right, we talked Burrow, we talked Chase Young, said Okuda's going 3rd in Miami. So that leaves the Giants at 4.
Shocking.
Let's talk about the Giants
Always
at 4.
your agenda.
Isaiah Simmons had a great combine. And to me, he looks as talented as anyone. But, like, did any of the combines really change anyone's draft position when we're talking about the elite guys? Like, if Isaiah Simmons was 4 before, he's still 4. It's not like he goes up over Okuda. Did anything change from his combine?
I don't think it changes. I really don't. We knew he was going to run fast. He ran a 4.39. He's a freak. He's 6'3.5". He's almost 240 pounds. He runs that time. He's so explosive. And then you watch the tape and it matches up. That's what you're trying to get from the combine. Now, if you're the Giants, here's the deal. And this is where the draft is fascinating this year, because you got Burrow going 1, let's say. Let's say Chase Young from Ohio State, defensive end, goes number 2 to the Redskins. Then it's open for business with Detroit at 3 and the Giants at 4. The Giants need an offensive tackle as much as they need a linebacker. So if they move back to a team like the Chargers at 6, the Panthers at 7, and there's some other teams too. Indy sitting at 13, Tampa Bay at 14 that need quarterbacks. What about the Las Vegas Raiders? Is John Gruden in love with Derek Carr? They're sitting at 12 with 2 first-round picks. So there are a lot of teams that are looking at this quarterback market that might want to get up to that number 3 or 4 spot, depending on where Tua Tagovailoa winds up going after Burrow. And so they could have a great deal to move back 6, 7, 8 spots, get an elite offensive tackle like a Tristan Wirfs, who had an exceptional workout coming out of Iowa, and still get another, an additional pick in this year's draft. So I think the Giants really want to move back. And if it's not Simmons, they'll take an offensive tackle and another player probably in the first round this year in order just to get the value that they can maximize.
All right, speaking of that 3 spot, I know you have a lot of love for Jordan Love. See, Max, you're not the only one with the corny puns here. You have him going 3rd amongst the quarterbacks. I know you have a little bet with Mel Kiper. Why are you right and he's wrong?
Because Jordan Love, if you go back and really study the tape in 2018, that's a quarterback that you're going to get. And if you have the right person developing him as an offensive coordinator, quarterback coach type, he's going to be a really, really good starter in the league, in my opinion. He's sudden. He is instinctive. He can change his arm angles. He can move off platform. He can create and extend plays, which is what you're looking for in a quarterback in the NFL today. It's not It's not 30 years ago. It's not the 6'6", 240-pound quarterback who's a statue inside the pocket throwing all around the field. It's a guy who extends and makes plays, and that's what Jordan Love does. And most people that I talk to in the league have Love ahead of Justin Herbert. We'll see when it's all said and done.
What about Justin Herbert? That's where I was going. I mean, the guy threw 32 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions this past season. People were talking about if he came out, if he was available in last year's NFL draft, he could have gone high. Now, suddenly, you don't even have him as your top 3 quarterback taken. What happened with him, Todd?
Still have him in the top 15. I mean, I understand because Mel and I are going back and forth on this, and we've got a $5,000 bet that's going to help the V Foundation, which we're thrilled to do. But the bottom line is, while I like him, I think he still has to develop. He's an introverted guy. Yes, he's a big arm quarterback. He can take off and run, but if you study him inside the pocket, creating and extending, he's not as sudden and agile as guys like Burrow and Tua and Jordan Love. So there are some differences to me, but again, I still have him in the first half of the first round. I like Justin Herbert. I just don't like him as much as I like Jordan Love, if you will. I almost got stuck with that pun again.
We've seen some generational talents on defense, especially up front, not be like the first defensive player picked. Right. Chase Young seems a sure thing to go first. He's considered different. Who do you see down the list where you go, that guy, maybe a defensive tackle or someone like that, that guy could be a Hall of Famer that someone steals a little later on?
Derrick Brown, defensive tackle from Auburn. You can make the argument that he's a better player than Chase Young if you study every single game. Now, Young is a physical freak, and his production was great, and I think he's going to be a great player in the league, and I would take him at number 2 if I wasn't taking a quarterback. If I was running the Redskins, I would take Chase Young at number 2. If Daniel Snyder told me I couldn't take a quarterback, that's the guy I would take.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.